Alright, y'all, while we are patiently waiting for the repo labels for detritus, I thought it might be a good time to go ahead and do a review for this here Transformers Legacy Shadow Striker. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on this figure. If you are a Cyberverse fan, this may not have been the figure that you were looking for. If you are a Robots in Disguise fan, this may not be the figure that you were looking for. Be that as it may, what this figure is attempting to do is please two parties at the same time. And I think it does a decent job, but I don't think it does the best job that it could have. For you eagle-eyed viewers, this is clearly a pre-tool for an eventual Robots in Disguise sideburn, and possibly sideburn repaints, and possibly like characters like Silhouette and Roulette or whatever the other characters are. But despite the fact that this may not be the figure that we want, that doesn't mean that this isn't a decent figure. So let's check it out. Starting with the paint, there's a fairly decent amount of paint on this character. I know that in the Cyberverse show, she was kind of a Frankenstein hodgepodge of a bunch of different robot parts. And that would have been nice to see in this. I know that molding a bunch of different bits and pieces for this figure probably isn't the most practical for Hasbro to do. So I understand why this figure is so plain. But considering it's such a large part of the character, it would have been nice to see some white arms and legs and, I don't know, different like fuchsia colors on here. So I definitely think that this figure is screaming to be repainted. The paint that's on it, however, is quite nice. Looking here at the head sculpts, this is 100% the best part of the figure. So if you like the character, but you don't like this figure, you may be able to find this head sculpt useful for something. Beautifully molded though. You get this nice kind of bluish silver paint on here, as well as nice red paint for the eyes. And there's even a little bit of like metallic purple on her chin there. Going down, this metallic purple is copied over to her forearms, and we get that bluish silver again on her abdomen. And then we get a completely different silver here for the engine block on her chest, and the Lego Frankfurters. There you get the nice red again. Crest picked out on her. We'll call that her stomach. And then you get some nice black painted details on the inside of her thigh and her shins. Despite the fact that this figure may not be painted as well as we would like, it is still painted rather well. She also has a Decepticon symbol right here on her forearm that's picked out in the bluish silver, and that is tampoed quite nice. Accessories, Shadow Striker, they want you to think that Shadow Striker comes with 3 accessories. So if we remove all the stuff from her arms, two of the accessories are actually car parts. So clearly this is the canopy for her vehicle mode, and then this is her back bumper, and they'll fit together like this. These are not accessories. And this in particular is frustrating because it's a piece of parts forming that I feel shouldn't have been necessary. Taking a look at her actual accessory, it's done well enough. It's not the most exciting design. It's very strange. It kind of looks like a fish, but for a gun, it suffices. And of course you can do the thing where you can plug things in holes and what have you, but honestly that just every and any configuration of this is just kind of bleh. But you do have different options for her to wield. She does have the standard gun post so that you can plug it into her hands. She also has this handle right here on the back, focus, that you can plug into her hand like so if you want to give her like a beaten stick or something. Taking a look at her shield, as you saw before, this piece likes to pop off. There is a spot in here for a pin. I think that probably would have been the best way to go. Maybe, this is also clear plastic here, this clear red plastic, so I don't know. Maybe this was the best way. But you can plug it into either of her arms. You can plug either of these things into either of her arms, and it looks fine. You don't have to have any of that stuff on her at all if you don't want to. Moving on to articulation. She's got pretty decent articulation, albeit kind of weird. Head can rotate 360, just be careful with the chin. It can look up and down better than it can up. Her head kind of knocks into the back structure here. Her arms are a bit funky. They're actually attached to the rear of the car. And while they do still retain all of the articulation, it is a little bit clunky. Not the prettiest, but we work with what we got, right? You get a bicep rotation, and the arms don't quite meet 90 degrees, and the bumper does not get in the way at all. She also has wrist articulation, which is nice to see. We'll talk about these in a second. Yes, she does have waist articulation, more of diaphragm articulation, but it's still there. Legs are completely unencumbered. You can get anything you want to out of these, except past 90 degrees. Feet are also a bit weird. She's got these huge galoshes on, with no backwards movement whatsoever, which is unfortunate, but they do go forward all the way thanks to transformation, and you do get an insane amount of ankle pivot, so that is nice to see. On the shield is 2 hinges, so you have a hinge right here, and then you have this base hinge right here that is actually pinned in. And then you can just port this onto any place that fits, and you can orient it however you wish. I like to do that just because it's prettier. So the main issue I have with this figure, I do wish that they could have managed this a bit better. They are just clipped on, but they sit on her back and they make her silhouette just absolutely awful. If we take these off, she automatically looks 100% better. This is a fantastic robot mode if you get rid of these pieces. The other thing is that this bumper plugs into a port right here on her back in vehicle mode, but you can't plug it in robot mode. And that's extremely frustrating because this shouldn't have been necessary. And they did it anyway, for, I guess, sideburn accuracy. So that's mildly frustrating, not overly frustrating, but it's unfortunate. Size comparisons, I don't have any Cyberverse figures, but here she is with a couple of her would-be cohorts. This is the Reveal the Shield, or like Hunt for the Decepticons lug nut, with the Hunt for the Decepticons lockdown. As you can see, they're both absolutely massive, but that's the nature of the figures. So there's that. And then for a more modern comparison, here she is next to our previous review, Detritus. So she's a little bit small for a deluxe, but I don't terribly take issue with the size. Okay, getting into transformation, let's go ahead and put these doors back on, and we'll go ahead and put her shield on as well, just to show you guys that it is possible to transform her without taking this off. We're gonna leave it completely extended for the moment. To start out, let's work on the legs. So she has a little clip on the bottom of her thigh and a little port in her kneecap. That will just click into place and solidify that. Then you want to take her feet and rotate them up so that they're like so. Next, what you want to do, let's work on this back. So let's get the arms out of the way a little bit. You do want to take off this bumper piece, so we'll put that off to the side. So we'll unclip that and fully extend it out like so. And then you want to take the arms, we'll bring them out to the side, and then you want to rotate everything up like this. Moving on to her chest, the whole front of the car is kind of compacted in here. So take these front bits and fold them out. And then there is another little panel on the inside right here that you want to get in and get out, and that will loudly click into place. Let's see, next, do you want to rotate the waist? Maybe not. Come on, let's see if we can figure this girl out. What was her pelvis will now become the front of the car. So let's just go ahead and rotate these legs down, and we can and rotate them all the way back and compress the front of the car like so. Moving on with the feet, there's in the inside of her thigh, there's a tab port connection, and you want to just do your best to lock those in place. Her feet have some tabs right there that will go onto a tab right there, and you'll just lock everything into place like so. And you can see the car starting to take shape. So let's go ahead and close up these doors. And then the arms, there's another slot right there on her forearm that will go into a tab on her legs. And so you'll rotate that down and tab it into place. Let's try rotating the fist to see if that helps anything out. And it does. Okay, so you want to make sure that the fists are rotated 90 degrees. And just bring everything down and tab it into place. And then this canopy piece, you will rotate it to the inside, and it'll lock into place like that. And then finally, this back bumper piece, post port connection into there, and that will keep everything, well, it doesn't keep anything together, but here is the base vehicle mode for Shadow Striker. And my, if it isn't one of the ugliest vehicle modes that I have ever seen. The only angle that this vehicle mode looks good at is the bottom. The bottom actually cleans up pretty well. The rest leaves a lot to be desired. We see in the Cyberverse show that her vehicle mode is more akin to like a sleek Lamborghini type thing, and in Robots in Disguise she turns into a Dodge Viper, which is what Sideburn is going to be turning into. I sincerely hope that they do a lot of remolding because while I like Sideburn and I want a figure of Sideburn, this just doesn't look good. I like the color. I like the color purple. I like the paint applications on the wheels. The wheels look good despite the mushroom pegs. And the lights are picked out really well. And the fact that we got tail lights painted too is a plus. She rolls okay. Her feet kind of drag a little bit. That may just be how they're tabbed in. But it is what it is. The small issue that I have is the canopy doesn't seem to want to stay tabbed in. Like you'll tab in the back and the front comes unplugged. Plug in the front, the back comes unplugged, and plugging it all in, like we'll give it the college squeeze. It just doesn't. It's not great. Let's try removing this, and we'll make sure that the arm is 100% tabbed in before we continue, because that may be the issue. So we'll make sure that the head is pushed down all the way. Make sure the arms are tabbed in. So we'll plug that. And we'll give it one more college squeeze. And no, not really. There's still a bit of gappiness. Not the worst thing in the world. I'm really curious to see if anybody's going to make any sort of upgrade kits. I'm also very curious to see what Toy Hacks is going to do for their stickers, because I would like to customize this figure to make her look more like her Frankenstein's Shockwave self, which is a figure that I meant to do a size comparison with, but whatever. Yeah, this vehicle mode just, it's not doing it for me. The gun, you can port this onto any place that you see a port, which is really just the top. That's going to probably be your best option. You can plug it onto her bumper, so she has just a mega huge tailgate on her. Other than that, you can plug it onto the bottom. You can plug it onto the base of her feet for some reason, but yeah, that's not doing it for me. Right, so for some vehicle mode comparisons, here she is with Lockdown and Detritus, and it's, let's do this one first. Lockdown is just a freakishly huge figure, even for the time, so that's not terribly unexpected. Large figures. But here she is with Detritus, and Detritus is he just feels a lot more massive than she does, even weight-wise. Like, Detritus seems like he weighs a bit more than she does too. So I do think that there was room to upscale this figure just a little bit, because she just feels a little bit small. And just in case you wanted to see her without the door panels on, this is what she looks like. So if you wanted to rip those off and keep her silhouette looking all right in robot mode, this is what she looks like transformed. You can see the issue with the arms not staying tabbed in here, and that's on both sides. So that's probably contributing to the problem with the canopy. Also, the doors do have this little clip on them that plugs into a port on the bottom of the windshield, and they help secure this thing in place. So right now it's a bit iffy, but this is something you can do if you really want to. Heads up though, I do recommend you be careful with taking these doors off, because I have a gnarly stress mark starting to form on there, and on the other one too. Same spots. So I'm going to clip these back on, and they are going to stay like that, just because I don't want to damage this figure. Okay, so final thoughts on this figure. It's okay. if you're a fan of the character from Cyberverse, this figure, and especially since we didn't get a good representation in that toy line, this may be your best bet. However, if you're not into collecting a version of all the characters, this may be a pretty easy skip for you. The main issues that I have with this canopy comes off way too easily. These door panels are atrocious, and they are the worst part of the figure. The foot articulation is lacking, but otherwise the articulation is well done, despite the awkwardness of the shoulders. Honestly though, everything else on the figure is all right. The sculpting and the especially the head sculpt is spectacular. But is it worth the price you pay? So I paid full retail for this character. It ended up being like $25, $26. I'm going to give this figure a 19 out of 25. A 19 out of 25. If you want her, pick it up, but I quite foresee decent sales on this figure in the future. So if you're hesitant on it, maybe wait for a discount on Amazon, maybe see if it shows up in your Walmart clearance section. But if you pay full price for the figure, you won't be terribly overpaying for it. And then lastly, here she is next to Beast Hunter's Shockwave. So that concludes the review for Shadow Striker. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.